Alright, what's going on everyone on YouTube, NES Ruler, and welcome to a brand new review. This time we'll be checking out a film that was sent to me to review by Cult Epics, and it is a film titled Scram. Now this is the last film from the director of the Necromantic films. So we have these four films that this guy directed. First Necromantic, then their Toad's King, Necromantic 2, and finally Scram, which just got released from Cult Epics. If you guys want to hear my review and Moods and JP's review as well on these first three films, you can go listen to the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. We did a review, feature review on these three films, and Moods and JP just did a review on this film. But unfortunately, because of my work schedule, I can't do the show anymore. So they just went ahead and did a review on this one. But I figured I'd come and give my review on this one since you guys already know my opinion on the other three films pretty much. And that is, I'm not a fan of this guy's work, to be completely honest. I know a lot of people really enjoy his films. Necromantic films have a pretty huge cult following. And a lot of people really like them. And their Toad's King is an interesting film as well. But I'm just not a huge fan of, the guy's work. I think he's trying to be a little bit too artsy, in my opinion, which is a lot saying for me, considering I really enjoy art house films. But I feel like he's trying to be a little bit too artsy for his own good. And it ultimately hurts his films. And this film is definitely no different, but it's a lot better. It's definitely his best film out of the four. You guys can definitely see that he progressed over time as a filmmaker to make a film that is ultimately an interesting character piece with some interesting cinematography and some avant-garde traits, and even some French New Wave techniques going on in this movie, which is really funny. I was watching it. There's a sequence where the main serial killer, the main character, Lothar Schramm, is driving in a car with his prostitute friend, and it's really a homage to Breathless by Godard, if you guys know that film. It's very similar, jump cuts and things like that. So it's pretty funny to see some French New Wave techniques being shown in this film from Germany. So like I said, the film follows Lothar Schramm. He is a serial killer, if you want to say. There's not too much killings going on in this film. There's only one major kill sequence in this film, and the rest is just a character study of this guy's mental state. And you really don't know what's real and what's not real. And it's really a film that's everybody would have a different say in what is going on, simply because of the fact, like I said, the difference between reality and not reality is a really thin line. So Lothar is an interesting guy. Like I said, he loves this prostitute that lives across this hall from him, and he'll pretty much do anything for her. But then we start to get into his mindset, and he definitely has a series of sexual frustrations inside of him. You could see that through a sequence of events that go on where he, I don't want to ruin it, but there's a little bit of genital mutilation going on. And you could definitely tell he has some sexual frustration going on within him. And I really think that carries on to the way his character evolves over the film. And the film really doesn't end on a straight-up conclusion. It's a pretty open-ended type of a film where the ending is the beginning, if that makes sense. It's not in the same way as Irreversible, but you pretty much have the whole film in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of the movie is this guy's mental state through avant-garde poetic imagery and interesting camera techniques and editing, really interesting editing and things like that. So it's, like I said, it's definitely his best film in the realm of character development and cinematography. It's a really, really gorgeous film. The movie was shot on 16 millimeter. I would assume it's 16 millimeter. Yeah, 16 millimeters. So it has that level of graininess that these other three films have, but it has a level of depth to it that these three other films don't have. These films are very bland and not interesting to look at a lot of the time. Necromantic 2 has some interesting things going on, but the other two are really just bland and not interesting. But this film definitely has its fair share of really, really awesome things to look at throughout, especially at the ending. There's this really, really great nighttime scene that's lit really, really beautifully. There's some really, really great shadows, and it's definitely the highlight of the film, in my opinion. The last 3 or 4 minutes, it's really, really nice, and it's definitely the highlight of all 4 of his films. But if you want to watch a film that dives into the mind of a serial killer, I would say that you guys should probably check out Cult Epic's other release of the film Angst from the year 1983. This is definitely, in my opinion, one of the greatest films ever made. It's definitely now in my top 10. All 3 of us, me, Moods, and JP, all gave this film a 10. And a lot of people that have watched this film recently absolutely have fell in love with it. And the fact that nobody knew about this movie until recently is just fantastic. And it's definitely, like I said, it's a masterpiece. And definitely one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. So while you want to see a film that revolves around the mind of a serial killer, definitely picked up Angst. But this movie, I guess, it does its job as well. Like I said, it's definitely the best film out of the 4, but it's not as well done or interesting as Angst is, but it's still a really good film and definitely the best out of the 4, like I said. So the transfer, it is what it is. Like I said, it's shot on 16 millimeters, so you're going to have that really, really heavy grain feel to it. It's definitely an aesthetic choice. But it's part of the character's mindset, I think, is, you know, all this grainy and messed up kind of stuff. So I think it goes well with the character. Then you have a minute 10 introduction from the director talking about the film and how it was made. Then you got an auto commentary from 2 of the actors and the director. You have a making of, and you have some trailers. And you have some short films. So I watched the intro and the making of. I didn't get to the commentaries or any of the short films. The making is really interesting. The thing with these films, they all have really, really fantastic features. I'm not knocking Cult Epics whatsoever when I talk about these films feature-wise, because the releases on all 4 of these films, and Angst too, all 4 of these films are just really, really fantastic. And they did a really, really good job with features and just the releases in general. They all come in nice slip covers and inserts and things like that. But, you know, these guys' films aren't really my cup of tea. I really didn't enjoy many of them, but they're not like horrible films that they're unwatchable. But I just didn't think that they lived up to all the expectations that I expected. But that doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't check them out, especially Scram. So you guys pick this up right now on Blu-ray and DVD from Cult Epics, an awesome company. So thank you everybody for watching this review. If you guys liked it, you can give it a thumbs up. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NESRuler22. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll talk to you guys soon with a DVD and Blu-ray update. I have a whole bunch of new and awesome stuff to show you guys, so stay tuned to that. Hope everybody's doing well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you guys.